Hi everybody, welcome to the Thumb. I had a request. I've got another video out there from way back of say a walkthrough of my whole fire burning operation. What a guy named Jeremy, I'm guessing his name was Jeremy, asked me to do a walkthrough, and it's been a while, and maybe some things have changed, and maybe I missed a few things when I did it before, but if you want to, you can go back and look through my old videos. I'm sure it's there somewhere. But anyway, so I'm going to do another walkthrough. I'm going to just start with the boiler itself. This isn't actually my original boiler. My original one was a Woodmaster Cleanfire 400. And that thing was a disaster. I went through and when I decided to start burning wood, which is a kind of a story in itself, there was just all these dead ash trees laying around. That's why I decided to start growing wood, or burning wood. But I could not. I just went to a dealer that was kind of a reputable dealer in the county, you know, and somewhat close. So I went there, and that's where I got my. I just went in and asked, yeah, I want to get a boiler, blah blah blah. And the guy said, well, there's this new thing out called a gasifier, wood gasifying boiler, whatever you call them. And he explained how it all worked. And I'm like, well, you know, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, give me one of those. And I want to say it cost me about $9,000. Sticks in my head for some reason. And I want to say probably for all my pumps and the line going through the ground and everything else, I think I had another $3,000 in it. So I think totally to begin with, I think I had about $12,000 tied up into all this. And I did kind of a little, didn't do any videos back then, but I did kind of compose a slideshow out of all my pictures and stuff as I built all the progress through the years. But and I'm going to put that at the end of this video, just so you know. And but yeah, I want to try to keep this one shorter as I can. But yeah, anyway, that first one was a disaster, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think Central Boiler bought out Woodmaster, or merged, or whatever. I don't know, however you want to say it. But now they still make that. I think they call it a Cleanfire 400, but it looks exactly like a. Actually, it looks like a Woodmaster or a Classic Edge 760. Only it says Woodmaster, and I think there's probably a few differences, but for the most part, it's, I think, kind of the same. But like I said, I think it was the same. But after I went through that first season, I was like, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was ready to just take it out back and bury it. It was that bad. And but anyway, I went back to the salesman, asked what they could do about it, and he said, well, I'll do what I can, you know. And it took a good, probably close to a year and a half, maybe even close to 2 years. But he did finally get my money back. But I think that was after Central Boiler bought out Woodmaster, and maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure. But anyway, I got my money back, which was great. But in the meantime, I had put this one in, this 750, and I did a few new things. I put a bigger pump out here, and then there's a pump in the house that basically it's pushing and pulling at the same time, because it's 200 feet to my house from here. So yeah, so there's a lot of friction or restriction, whatever you want to call it. And I'm very happy with this one. And now that I got all the bugs worked out of it, I'm just happy in general that I did all this. But I'm gonna shut this off just to keep it short. Okay, so the original one was it was 2017, I believe. Yeah, I made a few notes. It was 2017 when I put the original boiler in, and so 2018, the season of 2018, I should say, was the first year I used the Classic Edge 750, and that was before I built this building around it. It was yeah, it was just out in the open, just like most boilers are. And that winter was probably the worst winter, I would say the worst winter in the last 10 years or so. There was a lot of snow. It was cold, windy, just a nasty winter. It was just a good old-fashioned winter. But yeah, it was the worst one since I've been burning wood, basically. But luckily I had plenty of wood that year, and yeah, I had to come out when the freezing cold and do it, and didn't have any trouble as far as having service work to do or repairs to do. So yeah, it worked out good. But yeah, it was a bad winter. So that was 2018, and then 2019 I decided to build this barn or building around it. So yeah, through the summer, that was my summer project, was building this. And oh, the boiler, they gave me my money back for that old boiler, and then in the meantime, or before I even got my money back, I bought this Classic Edge. And I want to say the Classic Edge was like 11,000 back then. I want to say that's what it was. I'm not sure. I could go look through some of my old records and stuff, but yeah, I'm not gonna. But I think that's what it was. And then all the work I did myself, just like any DIY project. I made some mistakes and had to redo some things, but all in all, I think I still saved myself money. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, the building here is, I want to say it's 12 foot tall to the eaves. It's got a 10-12 pitch or a 12-10 pitch, however you say that. It matches my barn. That's the reason I did that. I did have to add an extra section of chimney on to get it up through this roof. Or actually, that got up through the roof, but I wanted to go up to the peak, or have it as high as the peak. So I had to buy an extra section of chimney. Some of the tin is repurposed, like this tin here on the sides, on the inside, and then there's also brown stuff on the outside. Guess I can walk out here. Yeah, this brown stuff here on the outside is also repurposed from, we had a hurricane one November, and it blew off a whole bunch of shingles on my house, and that was the quickest way to get it taken care of. I just ordered some tin, and like one half of my house was just the tin, or the shingles were all just ripped off in the middle of November, so there wasn't much time to do anything. So I just bought tin and screwed that down. Anyway, so I ended up reusing that after I fixed my roof up for real. Yeah, I don't throw anything away to speak of. But yeah, so the building itself is, I want to say it's 12 by 20. And this door I open quite often, and the door going towards the house I open every day. This one here only gets open when I have to clean out the boiler. And yeah, other than that, it just stays shut all the time. That's probably why it's packed full of snow right now. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so you've seen this. You guys have seen this wood trolley. This is a real handy thing. It's just got barn door track up there. Just hangs by a cannonball. Just barn door hangers is all they are. And I did take the hanging bolt out of it that comes with the door, the hardware kit, and then I just put a regular bolt in it. And I I found some square, half-inch square nuts, welded them into the top of the square tube there, and it's basically bolted on and jammed in there. So yeah, that works really good, and I'm glad I did that. And that barn door track goes the full length of the wood shed here. So that is a pretty slick deal, if I might say myself. Yeah, so the building, the wood shed here, I think I had about $6 grand into that. And there again, I built it all myself, so I didn't have labor costs or anything. I would say I built it myself. My brother and father-in-law helped me. Yeah, I didn't pay anybody. Well, didn't pay any money to anybody. Favors are, sometimes I'd rather just pay than owe somebody a favor. But anyway, now the corn crib. Okay, the reason I say corn crib, you'll see in the slideshow what it looked like originally. These sides, or these posts, were probably another 10 or 12 foot tall. And I guess I don't know what they use in other parts of the country, but there's still a lot of these corn cribs around. None of them, I wouldn't say none of them, but not very many of them get used anymore. And this hadn't been used. I think when I first moved here, like back in the mid-90s or whatever, I think my brother-in-law used it once or twice maybe, just because he had some extra corn, and we kind of patched up a few boards, and he dumped, I don't know, 400 or 500 bushels of ear corn in this corn crib. But yeah, other than that, it's just been sitting there growing full of vines, and it was kind of an eyesore, but I didn't want to tear it down. So I cut the tops off. Like I said, you'll see that in the slideshow. Cut the tops off all of them, and I didn't even really do any kind of a, actual slope. I ran some strings and put the rafters on, and I did have to straighten everything out because it's in pretty rough shape. You can see, like, this post is broken and this one's cracked. They're all cracked. I pulled it back from top to bottom. There was probably about a 2 foot lean, because prevailing winds just kind of kept working at it and ended up knocking it down, or would have knocked it down eventually. But anyway, so I put the roof on it, put the lights up. I would say that I think I had about $1,200 into all I put all new tin and new boards on, and I can't imagine what it would cost to build this the way it is with all these 6x6s and stuff. Yeah, just those, they're probably, I don't know, I would guess $50 a piece. And there's one every 5 feet, and it's about 80 feet long, I think, if I remember right. Well, there's 2 every 5 feet actually, because there's front and back. The back tin there, that was all repurposed out of a little lean-to that I ripped off my barn at one time before I built my shop. It was the old milk house, actually. And there is concrete underneath this snow, which that was kind of a bonus that I lived here about 3 years before I realized there was concrete there. So that was kind of a nice, fun bonus. It's all cracked up, but it does the job. But yeah, this corn crib, or this wood shed, is pretty versatile. What I do is fill up one. I start emptying it out of one end, and then through the winter I'll start refilling it, and then from the same end. And so then I start from opposite end each year, and gives me options. That way the wood has time to cure. Most of it's all this dead ash, which doesn't take much to cure at all, but a lot of it is there is some, like, there's some oak there. I think there's some cherry in there. Yeah, there's a bunch of cherry. But I try to just kind of have a plan when I start filling and then emptying it. Like this stuff at the end, this was actually growing trees. It was just some scrubby cherry trees that I cut down, and so yeah, they look like they're pretty dry now, but I probably won't even get to them this year, I hope. But anyway, so yeah, this this is just the quick little nickel tour of the place. And I really appreciate you guys watching this. And thanks for Jeremy for asking me to do this. If any of you guys watching these videos, if there's anything you want me to do a quick little rundown on, just yeah, just say so. And I don't mind making videos because I need ideas, because I don't want to bore everybody to death. I want to keep people interested in my channel. So quick little rundown on the heating system in the barn. The barn is 100 feet away from this woodshed, and I got a little shop in there. If you watch my videos, you've probably seen a little bit of footage of me being in there. But that has a floor heat in it, and I keep the floor at like about 80 degrees with kind of a variable speed pump that, and then I got a tempering valve on it, so it's like 90 degrees going in and 70 degrees coming out, and the variable speed pump just keeps those temperatures pretty constant. And so yeah, on a really balmy day, like say 1st of November or whatever, when it's maybe 40 degrees outside, it might get to be 70 degrees in there. But then yeah, when we got a 0 degree day and it's wind chill of 20 below, it's probably lucky to be 50 in there, but I'm dressed for it and I don't mind working in there. So okay, so that's the barn. And then the house, I have some floor heat in there too. I'm not going to show you all that because it's my house and I want to keep that private. But yeah, there's some floor heat in there, and then I also have the old plenum like everybody else has for a wood boiler, or I should say a heat exchanger in the plenum. In the boiler here, I have this big pump here. It's a 8th horse, I believe. That one goes to the house. This little one here goes to the barn, and then this one here, it was just a kind of recirculating the water. I thought that might help, but it really didn't do any good, so I don't run it all the time, or I don't run it at all. I'm thinking someday I might make with that extra circuit, I might try to make a wood kiln or something. I don't know if that'll work or not. I'm thinking about it anyway. But anyway, so I got this 8th horse going to the house, and then in the house I have a variable speed pump on the circulating line that I try to maintain 160 degrees return temperature. My water temperature, it'd be 160 degrees returning. So the plenum or the heat exchanger in the furnace, I have that regulated too, so I can, mostly just to, it might run a little longer, but that's okay. And but it still helps me maintain that 160 degree return temperature. I don't know where I heard that, but yeah, they say it's a good idea to keep it. I think they used 140 degrees return is best, but I try to keep 160. I don't know, it seems to work. And when it's real cold, it struggles to keep that. It's probably more like 140 on real cold days, but that's okay. But it helps keep when I started keeping 160 degree return temperature, it did help keep the creosote out of this thing too. So just a little tidbit. So if anybody's watching this just to learn from my mistakes, but there is a couple of things I would do different. One, I would probably try to figure out a way to get it closer to the house. Even if it was 100 foot closer, or I would really do some more research and try to find a more insulated underground pipe. I know I have a lot of, if there's anything inefficient about this thing, it would be the heat I lose in the ground. Yeah, when it starts to thaw in the spring, I can see the line going to the barn. It melts off there first, so that tells me that there's probably plenty of heat escaping there. And then to the barn, I never see that thaw out or anything, but that's 4 feet in the ground because I ran a water line with it. But when I'm watering my cattle in this kind of weather, and washing deer out with it, sometimes you can see you can feel the water. I've never put a temperature gauge on it, but the water line running from the house to my hydrant out here is it's running, you know, in the same trench as my heat tube there, and it's definitely warm. In fact, on a cold day it steams, so it's losing a lot of heat in the ground, and that frustrates me. But I'm not going to dig it up at this point anyway. I'm not going to dig it up and put different stuff in. But yeah, if I had it to do over again, I would really do some good research and find out the best pipe to put in the ground, especially at this distance that I'm pumping this water. If it was 20 feet from your house, probably wouldn't make that much of a difference, but yeah, this is quite a ways away. So anyway, that is the quick tour of my place. Oh, the other thing I have been saving my ashes. I put it, when I first clean out my, I got a steel trash can, or ash can actually, and I let it sit in there until the next time I clean out my boiler, and then I'll dump the ashes in these things. I don't know what I'll do with it. I don't even know why I save it, but I do have a big pile of ashes at the back side of my woodshed here, and I mean, what else do you do with them? So I'm going to save them, and I've heard there's ways you can make fertilizer and stuff out of it, and yeah, I'm going to try to do something with that. But anyway, yeah, I got some storage in this shed for say emergency. Sometimes the snow will blow into the wood or the corn crib part of it there, and I'll have wet wood for a couple of days, so I do bleed off this once in a while. I usually have this part here is all heaped right up with wood too, but I didn't even get my woodshed filled up, or the corn crib part of it filled up last year, so obviously this didn't get done either. But yeah, it's nice to have inside storage like that too, you know. And then there's sometimes I just don't even feel like filling up the trolley, and so that's an option of using the wood in here. But most of this wood's been sitting here for 3 years. I haven't even had to touch it. So anyway, I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching Thumb Country Stuff, and take her easy.